If you ever want to love your country more, run for president. Traveling this country, meeting people has been one of the most fantastic experiences of my entire life. I love America more today than I did on May 22nd. But when I go back to Iowa, it will not be as a presidential candidate. I am suspending my campaign. I think the voters who are the most remarkable people on the planet have been really clear that they're telling me not now, Tim. I don't think they're saying, Trey, no, but I do think they're saying not now. And so I'm going to respect the voters, and I'm going to hold on and keep working really hard and look forward to another opportunity.
They're dropping like flies, gang. First Pence, now Tim Scott. The single-digit midgets in the Republican primary are reading the writing on the wall, and they're dropping out in droves. We're going to see precisely why. We're going to see how things have gotten even worse for the Democrats and Sleepy Joe. And we're going to see why the stage is being set for the biggest and greatest political comeback ever. You're not going to want to miss this. Hey, gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, your Patriot professor, here to help you to think better so you can feel better in these crazy and turbulent times. So if you haven't already done so, you know what to do. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. So, as you just heard, South Carolina Senator Tim Scott has officially announced the end of his presidential aspirations, marking the latest casualty in the Republican establishment's ongoing but futile efforts to try to thwart the MAGA movement and the inevitability of the one and only Donald J. Trump. And as if to try to save face, Senator Scott went on to give one of the more bizarre rationales for why he dropped out. Take a look.
The last lesson I will say this, and hopefully we'll have a chance to do this again, is that the anti-Semitism that we're seeing on our college campuses and our streets is disgusting. I'm a black man. I understand racism and discrimination, but I gotta tell you, what we're seeing from an anti-Semitic approach today, the anti-Semitism on the streets and on the college campuses, is vile, it's disgusting, it's wrong, it's immoral, it's unethical. We should do battle in this nation. We who are not Jewish should stand in the gap for every Jewish American and tell the country, those folks who disagree with those of us who believe in fairness, you're not going to do it on my watch. You're not going to do it in my face. You're not going to do it on my campus. You're not going to do it in my house or my job. We have to stand together and against anti-Semitism. That's absolutely essential. And I'll tell you this, Trey, everywhere I go, I see Americans rising up against anti-Semitism. We did it against racism. We continue to do it every day against racism, but we have to do it against anti-Semitism, and we got to do it. We have to do it on college campuses where the fervor is so strong. But we're making progress. I'm going to spend a lot of time on college campuses and fighting for common sense, fairness, and treating each other as we would want to be treated, especially our Jewish Americans.
Tim Scott, senator from the great state of South Carolina, if he had another life, he would be a preacher. And he reminds us again tonight that God calls you to be obedient, even if that is not always successful as others define it.
Amen.
Suspending his presidential campaign, but continuing in public service.
That's right. According to Tim Scott, he's dropping out of presidential contention so he can go to college campuses and fight anti-Semitism. It obviously had nothing to do with the fact that he can't get past 1% support in the polls. No, he's dropping out so he can virtue signal with the best of them. Now, of course, this announcement comes on the heels of former VP Mike Pence officially suspending his campaign as if it ever began. The Babylon Bee nailed it with their characteristic wit and satire. In his most popular move of his presidential campaign, Mike Pence ends his presidential campaign. I mean, it was over before it began, as has been the case with every single one of these other candidates, most especially Ron DeSantis. Tim Scott's widely expected to throw support behind his fellow South Carolinian Nikki Haley, who in turn is spending upwards of $10 million to bump DeSantis out of the race and establish herself as the chief challenger to Trump. Good luck on that. Both Haley and DeSantis are Dick Cheney in 3-inch heels. DeSantis' lifts may be even higher than that, but they're both chasing an absolutely futile dream in thinking they can wrench the nomination away from Trump. It's beyond absurd in terms of the total unintelligibility of their strategy. We talked about this with the latest Chris Christie meltdown, Krispy Kreme Christie. Christie got up and proceeded to insult Republican voters, calling them afraid to hear the truth and all of his nonsense. And the ultra-leftists over at MSNBC cheered him on and all of that. They completely agreed with everything Christie said, which reveals the utter incoherence of a Chris Christie campaign, as well as Nikki Haley's and Ron DeSantis' campaigns. How on earth do you think you can plausibly campaign for the Republican presidential nomination when your talking points are literally identical with those of the far left? How on earth do you think you're going to win the GOP nomination when your campaign is actively rooting for the weaponized legalism that's indicting Trump, when you and Rachel Maddow are hoping for the very same thing? I mean, you've obviously taken yourself out of contention for the GOP nomination. This isn't rocket science. When you and Nancy Pelosi have identical hopes and aspirations when it comes to President Trump, you are not going to win the nomination from a party made up primarily of Trump voters. But if you thought things were bad for the Republicans, wait until you see the latest on bumbling Biden. You're going to absolutely love it. But first, gang, did you know that the latest data from the American Heart Association indicates that adults with fatty liver were 3.5 times more likely to have heart failure than those without? And did you know that the American Liver Foundation estimates as many as 100 million Americans have fatty liver? That's you, that's me. We can't save America if we don't first take care of ourselves. Our livers are our body's master detoxifier, but after decades of wear and tear, our livers slow down and become sluggish. This is why so many of us struggle with weight gain, feeling tired all the time. But gang, fortunately, there's a simple, all-natural solution. Liver Health Formula contains 12 powerful botanicals clinically proven to recharge and protect your liver. It helps restore your liver's detoxifying abilities, boosts your energy levels, and it works remarkably well to fight that horrible fatty liver. Liver Health Formula is backed by proven science. It's approved by American doctors, and the very best part, every single bottle is manufactured right here in the USA. Click on that link below right now and try Liver Health Formula completely risk-free. Order today and you'll get a free bottle of blood sugar formula, but that's only for a limited time, so don't wait. Click on that link below or go to getliverhelp.com/Turley right now. As it turns out, it's not just the Republican single-digit midgets that are experiencing campaign problems, as if things couldn't possibly get worse for bumbling Biden and his falling poll numbers. It's now being widely reported that Jill Stein is back. That's right, the Green Party candidate that many believe cost Hillary the election in several swing states like Wisconsin and Pennsylvania will indeed be back on the Green Party ticket. Cornel West, who was the original Green Party candidate for 2024, left the party to pursue the White House as an independent, which frankly is a dumb move. Independents have a notoriously difficult time getting on ballots. For example, Rich Barris has noticed that no independent candidate successfully gotten onto Arizona's or Georgia's ballots since 1992, since Ross Perot, who had tens of millions of dollars in his own wealth to basically buy his way onto those ballots, something neither RFK Jr. or Cornel West have. And so Jill Stein is back, and she threatens to siphon votes from Biden. And on top of that, there's now talk of Democrat Joe Manchin, who's dropped out of contention for the West Virginia Senate because he knew he was going to lose in a humiliating landslide. There's now talk of Manchin launching a third-party presidential candidacy, which again promises to bleed Biden of even more voters. So things are getting pretty dire for Sleepy Joe, as well as the Democrats' hopes to hold on to the Senate in 2024. West Virginia is now guaranteed to flip to the GOP, and that appears to be just one of a number of seats that could flip to the Republicans in 2024. So things are starting to definitely shake out here. President Trump, of course, as we've been reporting for the last several weeks, he is stronger than ever. The polls simply couldn't be better for him. He's surging with all the right groups. all as bumbling Biden is cratering in the polls. We'll, of course, have to see how things continue to play out. But right now, it's absolutely clear that this is Trump's moment. We really do appear to be seeing a political comeback in the making like we never seen before.
Hey, gang, I know what it's like to feel alone out there in these turbulent times, but I broke free. If you too have been looking for a community with like-minded patriots who are serious about resisting globalism, building a parallel economy, and having intelligent and deep fellowship on a regular basis, then you've come to the right place. In my Courageous Patriot Insiders community, we're building a close-knit movement of, by, and for patriots who are breaking free from the outrage and despair cycles of the mainstream media and taking on the fight against globalism. Every week, I deep dive into the content I can't share on big tech and give you the cliff notes on the truth of how patriots just like you are building up their communities, starting patriot businesses, and fighting the woke in both public and private. All with a few history and political lessons from yours truly, of course. If you want to stop feeling alone as a patriot and stand together with this fast-growing community, be sure to click on the link in the description below. Don't wait. Join me and my Patriot Coalition today, and let's get fighting.